What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY in the overall market. I'm also going to break down some big news that's coming out from different analysts about Tesla's deliveries numbers. But just notes that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. Not to mention 8.1% APY on invested cash. So, our friends, in just 5 days. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the market. So the market's very much just range bound, kind of going back and forth, not really doing much. I do want to mention that we do have some data coming out on the economic calendar. At 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the 17-week bill auction. It might cause a little bit of volatility, and besides that, everything else is going to be very, very minor. So there's not really a whole lot that's coming out, at least for the rest of the day. As far as Tesla goes, we're getting some good analyst ratings for it. We're seeing some bullish price targets, and the analyst consensus for the Q3 deliveries is around 462,000. That's up 6% versus Q3 of 2023. Now, one thing worth mentioning about this is the fact that when we look at this data, Tesla's anticipated to be doing really, really well. And I'm seeing the different analysts out there who are giving us very, very nice targets. So, for example, we had from RBC Capital an analyst known as Tom Narayan. He came out, he has increased his Tesla Q3 delivery view to about 460,000. Whereas Barclays has come out, they came out just a few days ago and they're saying that they're expecting 470,000 deliveries for Q3. That's well above the consensus estimate. So we'll see. Most of these analysts are pretty optimistic, saying it's going to be very close to expectations, if not better. That's what the majority are saying. So we'll see if that ends up being the case or not. So as far as the market in Tesla goes, what is going on right now? Honestly, guys, the market is very sideways. I was talking about this in my earlier video. I said that Tesla could be dipping down to about 252, if not a little bit lower, before it tries to come back up, and we're just going to be range bound. That's what I said, and that's exactly what happened so far. If you look at Tesla on the 5 minute time frame, it's completely choppy, completely sideways, just range bound, not really doing much. We were correct about it dipping down to about 252, maybe a little bit lower than coming back up. And overall, it's just very, very choppy. So we're looking at this resistance zone in this 255 area. We have support that's trying to hold us up around 254. And then below that, our main support is going to be down here at 252. Overall, we're just choppy, kind of trading sideways. So I expect this to happen for a couple of hours, as there's not really much the market's going to be reacting to until tomorrow. So for now, I'm anticipating some sideways choppy price action. For SPY, it's very similar, except SPY is actually downtrending just a little bit. We're still very, very choppy. We're trying to hold support around 570.8 to 200 EMA. And we have this resistance at 571. If we try to hold above that, we could technically go all the way up to about 572. But like I said before, it's very choppy, very sideways. If we lose 570.8 and we fail to hold this, we could get very close to 569 to 570 all the way down here in this range. But like I said before, it's a very, very small move, guys. It's not like it's dumping or anything like that. There could be a little dip if we end up losing 570.8. But overall, we are still range bound on SPY. We're still stuck within this range, shuffling in the 570s. We need to break past 572 to turn more bullish. We need to lose 568 to turn more bearish. Otherwise, we're just going to be range bound between 569 and 571, going back and forth and back and forth. And we're mainly in the 570 area. So I think we're just going to be range bound for now, just waiting to see which way this ends up going. The same thing can be said about ES. We have this 5,800 area, so our resistance, our support is currently at 57. 80. So we've been going back and forth, just range bound. If we lose 57.73, we're looking for a bigger dump for 57.50. If we break 5,800, we're looking for a push. We haven't done either of those. We're just range bound for now, so we're going to likely remain this way. So I'm not really expecting much from ES either. We're just range bound. For Nvda, we look more bullish. We have been pushing up for this resistance. I called out around 125. That's exactly where Nvidia went to. That's going to be our resistance and our support's at 122.8. We are currently just range bound. We're attempting to push higher, but we're just stuck within this range. So I'm not really expecting much thus far. We're completely stuck. There is potential for Nvidia to push even higher for that above 125 target, but like I said before, I don't expect it to push that high right now. We might just remain range bound between 122.8 and 125. But there is still potential for it later on to push higher. The chart still looks more bullish. Bitcoin, it dipped all the way down to our target. I was talking about how it could be dipping to about 63,500. We went very close to that, a little bit below that, only to come back up. I did mention it might try to bounce off this support right here. And now we're just shuffling between 64 and 63,000. We're going to likely continue to do that. It could try to push a little bit higher if the market holds up, but so far it's just range bound. For NQ, we're shuffling. We're actually trying to break this high rate here. So we have 20,200 as resistance. If we continue to hold above this, we could slowly push our way up for that 20,400 target. We also have support at 20,200. If that fails us, we're looking for 20,000 flat. It's still range bound, but it's holding very nicely above the resistance. So it's doing a pretty good job. For the QQQ, we look more bullish. We need to see if this could try to break past 488. If we do break that, we're looking for a bigger pump. If we end up losing support at 482, we could be dipping back down. Overall, we look more bullish as we're holding up very, very nicely in terms of this trend. And the QQQ does favor upside. We did get to my 488 target, or very close to that. And we could go even higher than that later on if we manage to break that for that 490 target. But for now, we could be retesting the 485 area and continuing to shuffle. But that's all I'm seeing, at least for now. For other tickers out there, we have Aapl. Aapl is once again dipping a little bit. We could be retesting 224 before we try to rebound, but it's still looking a little bit weaker. So there could be a small dip before it tries to bounce. For the IWM, we also look a little bit more bearish. I think we could be retesting 218 before it tries to bounce. So there is some choppy price action, but we could be dipping a little bit lower before it attempts to rebound. For Coinbase, we're completely stuck within this range. We have 168 as support and 172 as resistance, where we may just remain range bound for now. We'll see how this ends up reacting. Amazon's dipping a little bit. We'll be looking to see if this ends up getting close to about. We'll see if this holds a 192 at the very least, and we have 195 as resistance. So I think it's going to be range bound for the time being. Look for a little bit of a dip towards the 192 area. We'll see if we bounce after that. For Meta, we came all the way down to about 560 only to rebound. So look at this resistance at 572. If that breaks, we're looking for 575. And our support is currently at 568. So we're just range bound on Meta, not really doing much. However, it's outperforming the market, trying to push, especially after bullish news. So it has potential to push for 575 again later on. Maybe not now, but later on. For Microsoft, we have resistance at 432 and we have support at 428. We'll be watching to see if 432 breaks. We're just kind of range bound otherwise, but there is upside potential. Google also has some more upside potential. We have 163 as support and then 164.5 as resistance. It's possible we push a little bit higher for 165, but otherwise it's just range bound between these levels. So with that being said, guys, I want to thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great day. The market is still kind of choppy. Tesla's also going to be range bound for now, not really doing much, but there is still some upside potential later on as we get closer to deliveries. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. The market's still within our range, so just be very patient. It's not that fun to trade when the market's very choppy, so be careful if you're holding options, especially because premiums are going to be affected by this chop. Have a great day. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours for another update again. Until then, thank you and peace out.